Axcitement has the ability to add backgrounds behind your targets. So for example, instead of just a plain old black background, you can have something like this. Or if we go into, say, the zombie hunter, here's a nice background of a graveyard that you can toss up there. So you can actually set a different background for each of the different games. We're going to go show you how that's done. The first thing you do is when you go into your admin panel with your Control M, you're going to see that there's something over here that says backgrounds. You click on that and that will give you the background menu. But before you do it, you also may want to edit positions. So you'll also see that there is a background position setting. So you can set it to go as far as you want. Maybe your target doesn't go all the way to the sides, or your lane is a little narrower. You can go into this and you can shrink down what the size of the background is on your system. So if I shut it down to, say, that size, now when I go into my zombie hunter, you'll see it's cut off to that size. So just go into your edit settings in your admin, your edit positions, and then go to the background and make it so it just fits full screen. Don't have it go off the screen, otherwise you may miss some buttons that we're going to use for it later. So now, after we close that, that's what it looks like. So now you will see that there's another button up here called Backgrounds. Let's click on that. This opens a new menu. The top left button says Backgrounds. Click there. Takes us to a screen that doesn't look too exciting. It looks just black, but that's actually a background. Let's check out the arrows. So here's an arrow to move through the different backgrounds. So this background is just black, but you'll see we also have one that's pink, and here's an image, or here's a great image for the background of battleships. And you'll see when I move my mouse over it, it gives me some choices here. One is, what do we want for the brightness of this? So if that looks too bright when you put it on your board, we can take this particular background and we can dim it to whatever level we want. And we also have a button that says select games. So here you can go through the different games and say, you know what, I want this one for Battleship. All right, so that's how you assign one. So now let's go back and now let's go to a different one. Well, this looks like a good one to use for the poker game, and we can again adjust the brightness, but let's select the games here and you can see that we can put it on 21. All right, so there's a good one. Now let's head on back and let's look at a different image. This is a fun one that we like, and you can adjust again the brightness of this thing. So let's take the brightness all the way up for the time being, and let's select a game for this. And I'm going to put that on our bottle axe game, because that has the feel of bottles and a brewery and all that kind of stuff with all these barrels in here. Obviously, Christmas, this is a good one for that. So when we select the games, I probably already selected it for Christmas, but if it wasn't selected, you just click on it and there it is. All right, so but now when we take a look at that, and let's go back, this is awful bright, so let's go in and we're going to close and go to the Christmas game. And when we look at Christmas, we can see that the background is really fighting for our attention versus the actual image itself. And it's getting in the way of our scoreboard maybe even, so we're not seeing the numbers up here as well. Well, the good news is we can darken the background down. All right, so let's go in and do that. So we'll go again into our admin. And then we'll go to the backgrounds, and then I'm going to go forward until I see the Christmas game, the Christmas background here, and I can adjust the brightness of that. So I can take it to whatever level I think looks good for the overall background. Now this is going to be different depending on how much light is in your location, whether or not you're using the black no bounce borders, you're just shining on wood, is your wood light, is your wood dark. So that's why we give each location the ability to put up whatever background you want if you desire for any given game, and also the ability to set the brightness of that. So now we've set it down to a little lower. So let's go take a look at that now. We go into the Christmas game now, and now it's a little more subtle in the background. It's still kind of conflicting here with this fireplace here, and if my wood is going to be in the center area, and here I'm showing you on a monitor so we can see things clearly. But if we take a look at it on wood, if the backgrounds are too bright, they can conflict. Let's take a look so you know what I mean. Here we can see it shining on wood, and we see the fireplace. Since it's right where the Christmas tree is, in the target area, it's really causing an issue with how things look. Let's take a look at the pink background for a second. You can see here the same sort of thing where the pink is overpowering, where it's bouncing off the wood because the black isn't going to reflect as much light as what the pink is. Well, we've got a cure for this too. You now have the ability to go in and choose just the area of the wood and darken that a little more than the rest of the background. Let's check it out. So when you go into the menu, you'll see there's a button called Target Dimmer. If we click on that, it just takes us to this big gray box that doesn't look like anything. But we can see that if we turn up the intensity, there is a big square there. We can take this square and, just like other elements in our update positions, we can move this thing around. So you want to size this and put it to where it's going to show up exactly on your target. What this is going to do is drop the intensity of the background over the target area if you so desire. And again, this might be necessary if you're using black no bounce borders or not. Maybe still you feel that the background is fun on the sides, but you don't want it at all over the target. If that's the case, you can take it all the way to black here. We can see if we take it all the way to black. Let's close this. Let's close that, and let's go into, say, Zombie Hunter. We can see that it's putting a black box around this. Now, it's not quite big enough, so I'm going to enlarge it a little bit, and let's take the intensity down just a little bit. So going back into my admin for backgrounds, target dimmer, I'm going to make this a little bit wider and a little bit taller. Okay, and now let's take the intensity down to about half. And now when I close it and we take a look at our zombies again, let's see how we're looking. So now we see a little bit of that background coming through, but we have it so it's encompassing our entire area here. If we go over to the duck hunter, before we saw that with that bright green, it was way too bright. You couldn't see the ducks too well. The bright green might be a bit too much anyway. So what we're going to do is let's take all of that down a little bit. So we'll go into our backgrounds and go find the bright background for the ducks that we're using. There it is. We're going to mouse over this and we're going to drop the brightness overall of that, and then between that and the target dimming that we did, this will probably look really good. There, now we can see the ducks really well, but we still have the fun background around it. So go on in and play with the different ones that we have and see how it looks with your different targets, and adjust things as need be. And we hope you enjoy the new feature. We will be adding the ability to upload your own images later, and when you upload your own images, you'll be able to do the same thing, adjust their brightness, etc. And we hope you enjoy it. Thanks.